What's going on, YouTube? My name is Ashton, aka Rankum, and I've been doing this stuff for a long time, this ranking stuff, and now I kind of want to put it into more of a perspective, get to explain it a little bit further and things like that. So today we're going to be doing this brand new series that I'm just going to call the tier list, and today we're going to be doing so with a new album that just came out a couple weeks ago, Meet Me at the Record Store by the Somerset. This is their first album since 2022, and it's a pretty good banger, man. Make sure y'all check it out. Make sure y'all support them on TikTok and everything because they have been grinding. So with that being said, let's get into it. First things first, I'm just going to kind of go over the tiers, the tiering system, how I kind of see it. So obviously at the very top, we have Just Wow. I mean,
Wow.
the best of the best, right? Breathtaking. Some of these tier lists aren't going to have the Just Wow. They're not going to have something in that category. But nonetheless, I want that there just in case in the future or now or whenever. And if an album has the Just Wow, that's where it goes. Next, we have the Work of Art. Just a really, really good song, right? It worked. It just wasn't quite amazing. You know, there was something about it that didn't want me to put it up. Next, we have Banger. Now, this is just a really good song, right? It's a good song. It's something I could jam to. It's something I would put on, but it's not quite. There's something flawed about it, or there's something about it that's just not quite a work of art, if that makes sense. Next, you have Solid. I mean, self-explanatory. Solid is solid. It's a good song. Sure, cool. We move on. Next is It Works, right? And that's just like, the song works, right? It's not a bad song. It's just not really, there's something about it that doesn't catch my ear per se, I guess. Then Not For Me, that's just going to be a tier for a lot of songs that are probably pretty good, but it's just not my cup of tea. That's where that goes. Not Great, that's my way of saying that I'm just not digging the song at all. And then we have Dance Monkey, the worst song of all time. Not many songs will go down there. And trust me, I don't think you want to see a song down there. So with that being said, let's get this going. First things first, I guess for the first time, we're going to be putting a song up here. For the first time was the opening song of this album. I thought they did a really good job with it. I think that in terms of the builds into the choruses, they sound really strong. I think in terms of the vocals sound really, really good on this track. I think that in terms of the climax going into, the next song, I thought this was a perfect song to pick to go first. And I'm going to start this off by putting For the First Time in Banger. I thought it was a really good song. It was a really good hook into the album. I think if this song wasn't the first song on the album, it definitely probably would have fallen into Solid. But just the decision to put it as the first song really elevates it for me. I think that, like I said, they just sounded really good on this song. It was a really good climax to start the album, and a really good job of just taking us into the rest of it. All right, up next is I Don't Want to Party, track 2 of the album. I thought this song was pretty good, right? There wasn't anything amazing about it. I thought the message, I guess, was okay, right? In terms of like I'm feeling a little old. I'm not feeling myself anymore. I just don't want to go out. I don't want to do the things that I used to, right? Especially for this band who, grew up, they were very young when they first started making music. And now they're a little bit older. They've been doing this for a while, and they're kind of trying to take a step back from it. That's the kind of message that I got. From I Don't Want to Party, I thought it was a good song, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm putting it in Solid. I think that for the most part, it works. It just wasn't super eye-popping for me, right? It was a solid song. It was a good message. Brian's vocals were okay. But I think in terms of the overall album, in terms of what we see through a lot of these songs, you'll see a very similar progression where you have your introduction going straight into a chorus, obviously with a pre-chorus in between. That's going to be somewhat impactful. Then you might have a second chorus in between, and then a strong bridge leading into a very climactic end. And that's what a lot of these songs really have. And this, I think, was one of the first ones that really kind of did that. But it didn't quite have a big climax at the end, such as For the First Time did. Next, we're going to go into the next song, Adidas, All Day I Dream About Blank, right? Basically, this song was okay, right? It kind of worked. It was kind of like an eye popper, right? It was like a, whoa, like, are you sure you're writing about this? And they're very, very upfront with what they wanted with this song. I thought that it was a good song. I thought Brian's vocals sound really good for it. I think the little riff, I think it sounds pretty good, right? And I think that it's catchy, it works, but it's just not my cup of tea, right? It's the lyrical stuff in it just isn't for me. I don't need an all sex it up song or anything like that. It's just not really my cup of tea. So it's gonna go and it works, and that's really why, right? If it was a different topic, maybe probably put it in solid, but lyrically I have to drop it into the it works. Next song is Miserable with Jax, right? I thought that Jax did a good job just kind of coming in and being herself in this song. I think Jax does a lot of really good features. In terms of the mesh though, I didn't really feel it as much, right? It wasn't really my thing in this song. I thought that they were kind of drawing out the miserable, right? They really owned it, right? Something was miserable. They were miserable, right? But I thought in terms of the overall song quality, it wasn't really there. And I didn't really like the mesh between Brian's voice and Jax's voice. I didn't think it worked as well as I wanted it to. But it wasn't a bad song at the end of the day. This song's going to go in Not For Me. We, of course, start with four songs in different tiers, but that's going to change really soon. Overall, though, I think it's a good song. It's just not for me, and I think that other people listening to that song probably would have a different experience than I did. Next one, we have Algorithm and Blues. This is a good song. This was one of the singles. Obviously, I Don't Want to Party and Adidas were also singles. But this was a good song, man. I thought the ending chorus was really strong. I thought it was catchy. I thought it was fun. It was upbeat. It was kind of poppy. And I really liked it. The only problem was that it kind of released around the time that another, I think, banger really dropped. And it kind of took away some of the value for me, at least. Obviously, I've listened to it since then, and I've been listening to it with the album. And it's a good song. I enjoy it. And I'm putting it in solid, and I'm actually going to put it ahead of I Don't Want to Party. And that's kind of how I'm ranking it. So if I would say that I like Algorithm and Blues a little bit more than I Don't Want to Party. But that's just me. You tell me what you think between those and all the rest of these songs. Next one, What I'm Made Of. This one had a very big shift from the rest of the album, right? Everything else was kind of like upbeat, to start it and talking about, the typical, pop punk band type stuff. And then with Algorithm and Blues, it kind of shifts the message, right? And What I'm Made Of kind of gives a positive tone, which I like, in terms of, realizing potential and things like that. I think that in terms of, what I talked about earlier with that progression, I thought this song really did that well. And I think What I'm Made Of is one of my favorite songs on the album, just based on what it's about. And I thought that it was really good. And I think I'm going to put it in banger. It's going to be just below For the First Time for me, just because I thought For the First Time was just really good. And there's nothing against What I'm Made Of. I think What I'm Made Of has a good tone to it. I like the acoustic guitar behind everything. And I think it was a good progression for the most part. All right. Up next, we have All of Us. This was track 7, so we're just over halfway through this album. I thought this song was good. I think that it has, like I said, similar messages to What I'm Made Of in terms of being able to go in there, have a positive message. When all of us come together, things go well, right? That's kind of the message in this song. I really like the use of the different instrumentation between the chorus, whether that being the bass line, the synth line, the bells, right? I thought that for the most part they were pretty creative with that. I wouldn't say creative, I would just say unique based on some of the rest of the album. I like the different instrumentation in this one. I like the message. And I thought it was a good song. So it's also going to go into banger. It's going to go in between. I liked it just a slight bit more than what I made of. All right. Up next, we have Hit and Run. And now, I know this is a fan favorite. I think this was one of the most popular songs, especially when this album came out. Just in terms of the overall vibe of it, right? It sounds very much like a road trippy song, where you're going out on the road, you're jamming, kind of like not quite, but like a One Direction-y song in a way of just like the vibes and the enjoyment of it. Obviously, very different, right? But comparing it to One Direction, I'm kind of talking about it as like a road trippy song, right? With a little bit of added punk and pop to it. I like it. I think it's a good song. I would definitely put it somewhere in between here. It's definitely banger or solid. I think I'm going to put it at the back of banger. I think it's a good song. I would definitely listen to it. If someone were to play it, I would enjoy it. It's definitely a song I would even suggest to a lot of people, right? Especially if they're looking to get into the Somerset. I think it's a good song. I think the rhythm of the chorus sounds really good, especially with the guitar in there. I think it sounds solid, and for the most part, I think it is a banger. It definitely is. So that's where it's going to fall. Alrighty, and now we reach one of my lesser favorite songs on the album. That is Gloria. I understand, what it's about. I understand who they're singing it to and everything like that. I just don't like this chorus. It's a chorus that kind of, has a fun poppy verse. It has a fun poppy pre-chorus, and then it's just like kind of flatlined a little bit when it gets to the chorus, and it's just not for me. It's not terrible. It's not the worst song in the world. It's not Dance Monkey, but Gloria overall is okay, right? And actually, I don't think so. I don't think it's a very good song. And that's why, personally, for me, it has to go into not great. I don't mean that to be disrespectful or anything. It's just not a song that I think is particularly incredible. I thought the songwriting wasn't super high tier. And that's why I have to put it in not great, just for me. Alrighty, next we have 34. This is a song where they're talking about, getting older, right? In terms of, similar to I Don't Want to Party, in terms of, reminiscing on the old times, not being able to do some of the things that they used to when they were younger. I like the use of a harmonica in this one. I think it provides the old school feel, or like the, sitting on the porch, or just, being happy with, whoever, right? And just kind of reminiscing on good times, right? I think it's a good song. I like the lyrical content a good amount. I think it's a fun song. I think it's kind of just like a relaxed song, right? It's not going to be something that you're going to put on in like a car ride. It's not something that you're going to put on at the club, when you're dancing. It's just going to be a kick back, enjoy it, and relax song. For me, that's going to go into It Works. It's going to go to the top of It Works. I think it's a good song, right? And I do enjoy the song a lot. I enjoy some of the references and things like that. And I think that it's just a cool song that kind of encapsulates, what it means to get a little bit older. Alrighty, now we get into another single. And I kind of referenced it when I was talking about Algorithm and Bruise. I really like this song, Flowers. I think it is a really good song. I think it's a fun song. It's kind of weird because they sang about, I don't want to party, and then they're singing about going to a party, right? But nonetheless, I think it's a fun song. I think it has a poppy chorus. I think it's electric. I think it is a very, very good song. So much so that it is actually, I would say it's my favorite song on the album. Lyrically, not my favorite, right? You're talking about, vomiting at a party. Being there, being too drunk to really appreciate it, maybe, or maybe something along those lines is what he's trying to explain. But I think at the end of the day, it's fun, right? It works, it's enjoyable, and that's kind of what I listen to the Somerset for. if I were to pull up Boomerang, right, I'm not listening to it for, a super, authentic music or super crazy music, right? I'm listening to it just because it's a fun vibe, right? And that's kind of what I get when I listen to Flowers. Alrighty. The last song of the album is Dizzy. Now, I thought this was an okay way to end the album. I think the album itself is kind of a little bit all over the place in terms of, where things go, in terms of the story. I don't think a lot of it connects all the way, right? I think there's some things that kind of almost disprove other parts of it, right? Where you're going from, happy stuff, sad stuff, confused things, things like that. But at the end of the day, I think Dizzy is okay. I think it works, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of it works. I think in terms of when you're looking at just a solid, fun song to end it, but also like a way to just kind of calm it down, I think Dizzy does that. And that's why I think it goes and it works. Ultimately, thank you guys for watching. This is my list. If you have any disagreements or arguments with how I ranked it, please let me know. I will, be responding to all the comments and everything, and make sure to let me know what album I should rank next. Thank you and have a good day. Peace.